Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 35. In this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Action Target. Today I have with me two very familiar guests. I consider them my expert panel, Sam Asner and TJ Gauthier.
Hey Ryan, how's it going?
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
I want post production to put in "The Boys Are Back in Town" right here. That'd be an excellent soundtrack. So what have you guys been up to?
Oh well, hopefully some of the listeners here have been checking out one of the newest additions to the Firearms Radio Network, the Guns of Hollywood podcast that I co-host with Ali Howe. We post on Saturdays, and we kind of talk about guns and movies and guns. And interesting, we've done some good episodes so far. Saving Private Ryan, Predator, The Longest Day. We just finished recording Dr. No, doing a little James Bond action, so we're doing all that. So I'm co-hosting the Guns of Hollywood podcast, gunsofhollywood.com, and I'm the frequent procrastinator of njgunblog.com.
Well, speaking of procrastination, I've actually neglected to check out that show yet, so I'll get on that as soon as I remember. I haven't been up to a whole lot. I got a new holster this weekend. I don't know if you guys know what the MIC, it's an MIC, it's a little trigger guard. It only covers the trigger guard, and it's kind of held with a piece of...
It's got a paracord.
Yeah, and you just kind of wrap it around your belt and just stuff it in your pants, kind of gangster style. But
it's like slightly safer Mexican carry.
Yeah, basically. Except I'm actually kind of liking it. It's kind of like you can just kind of move it around if you're driving. Just move it to the right position and stuff. I'll definitely be doing a review on it when I'm after I've had a little more experience on it. So look out for that.
Cool.
What about you, Ryan?
Oh, I've been busy and doing reviews, and Father's Day weekend did some shooting for sure. It wouldn't really quite be Father's Day without taking the old man to the shooting range. Finally, I was able to take some Action Target steel out for the first time, and I was having a lot of fun with it. Actually, my 44 revolver, my 44 mag, was shooting the steel, and it was interesting seeing what my lighter loads, 100 or I think 200 grains, just kind of hitting the plate, and then the 300 grain loads with like a little bit over 18 grains of Hodgdon H110 was like almost like picking the plate, the whole stand up and sending it back down a little bit. So just interesting seeing the recoil. Thinking, well, yeah, that'll work on a deer, and walked up to the plate and was kind of very careful, like, oh no, did I ding it already first day? And not even hardly a scratch. The paint's still on there.
Wow.
Now, can you deer hunt? Can you deer hunt with a pistol out there?
Oh yeah, I plan on it. I'm always waiting for that story of, yeah, I didn't see nothing. I was walking back to the truck and it was just standing right there. And because you've got your rifle on your back and you unchambered the rounds or whatnot, I can just pull out the old Dirty Harry and put it in the dirt. But
now, is there like circumstances in which it has to be used, or it's like any time it's a gun using, you could use a handgun?
As long as it's a modern firearm.
Oh, okay.
You can use it as a substitute, I believe.
Well,
jealous.
Go ahead.
What's that? I was going to ask if you can hunt with black powder revolvers, if you know that.
Only during muzzle loading season, and in fact, that's the only sidearm you can use in muzzle loading season. So say you got your muzzle loader, you're going after an elk, and there's some grouse, and you're like, oh man, I'm going to get me some grouse too. You got to have your black powder pistol with you, because I think if you pulled out a .22 long rifle or a bow, I think bow is still considered less primitive than muzzleloader, so you'd be okay. But if you shoot a grouse during muzzle loading season, I think you'd be in trouble if you didn't.
What is a grouse?
It's a very stupid game bird, and they're very tasty. Not to insult their intelligence, but if you miss, chances are they won't move. I've gotten many that actually the recoil did not affect them at all, and I was standing 10 feet away, And they were,
Wow.
or they'll fly up and then they'll fly straight back down and go, what was that? So,
I actually am a recently certified, passed my safety training stuff for my hunting license, so one step closer to my first hunt coming up in this fall. So passed this last week, 2 weeks ago, and can't wait to use it.
Yeah, sweet.
Getting ready for that.
I hope I don't get any PETA emails because I said grouse were stupid. I meant to.
You're gonna.
Be like the Grouse Alliance of America.
You're gonna get an email from the United Grouse Advocates of America.
They're not as elusive as other birds. We'll just say that. But let's get right into the announcements. The Raid Tech giveaway. I've actually had enough entries to do a final drawing for all the remaining products. So I'll be announcing all the winners right now for the remaining stuff that I had. So of the Beretta 92 FS Raid Tech products, Stephen Woody and Larry Sutton have both won a digital counter and an LED advisor, respectively. So I'll be sending that out to you guys this week. And last, but certainly not least, and probably what everyone's been most anticipating, the winner of the AR-15 Raid Tech digital counter is Glenn Jerome. So congratulations, Glenn, and I'll be sending that out this week as well. So a big thank you, big heartfelt thank you to everybody who's contributed a review for this show on iTunes. It definitely helped our ranking. There was a 1 week where we were actually within the top 10 of the outdoor podcast category. I mean, we were just like 2 spots below Gun Guy Radio, so that's pretty huge to me. So big thank you for those reviews. And they didn't even have to be positive reviews, and they still were, which must mean I'm doing a good job and improving. So I appreciate that. I take that to heart. So make sure you stay tuned for more giveaways because it's so much fun and it makes you guys so happy. And I love getting the emails of how appreciative you guys were that, I've never won anything. And it's like, well, I've never given anything away, so it's a first for both of us. There you go. So stay tuned for more giveaways. Let's get right into the new product spotlight, and this is actually something that's been kind of hot on the social media scene for the last couple weeks. It's the new HK VP9 in 9mm. Have you guys been able to? You guys probably hit by the blasts from HK on this, right?
Yeah, I've seen plenty of it. I've subscribed to Caleb Giddings at Gun Nuts, and I think he got one a week or two ago for a test, and I think he tested it pretty hard last week and put up a bunch of stuff with it over the last few days. And so I went ahead and linked to that, so if people aren't too familiar with it, they can go check it out and see. I think he even put compatible holsters and all that stuff, so it's pretty comprehensive first look. But I think it's kind of like everybody said with the SIG, what is it, the 320 that just came out? A little too late, you know? And then they're taking a their hammer-fired version of something else and just putting a striker in it, you know? But
like
before we get to
too late, they're trying to like shoehorn themselves into the striker-fired market by just kind of chopping up and rehashing a gun they already have.
Yeah, the P30.
H&K's handguns like speak for themselves already. Like, I guess they're trying to expand their market share, which any good company typically tries to do. But my thing is, like, people go for the striker fires for a few reasons. Like, the performance benefits, and people like them, like, just based upon their personal preference. But also, like, they tend to be more accepting on the wallet, especially for new shooters. Like, you can get used Glocks for the 4s, new ones for higher 5s. You know, the MSRP on this is $795 or something like that, like high 7s.
I thought it was about middle, so I'm not entirely sure.
Was it middle 7s, like 750?
Yeah.
Let me go at that. It's like you're looking at an HK, and it's, I don't know, it's striker fires to me are kind of like the meat and potatoes, the modern meat and potatoes of like workhorse guns. And H&K to me, like, it feels like precision, and like it's just a different feel. Like, it doesn't fit into me. And I know they've done, the the P9 or P7, right?
Yeah.
Back in the early 80s and stuff, they came out with that, and they do have a slight history with striker fire designs. That being said, like, I think H&K, I think USPs, I think Mark 23s. I don't think these.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to get at, throw themselves into that situation.
Yeah, but then it's like, not that striker fires, like I said, they're kind of modern meat and potatoes type guns of striker fires. And I don't know, I feel like it takes a little bit away from the prestige of H&K to be like, look, we did a striker fire too.
Yeah.
And the gun looks sick. It looks like it's going to feel great in the hand. My only thing is I'm not a big fan of the H&K magazine release. I really haven't had trigger time on it. I've only had like gun store feeling it out time on it, and not a big fan of that.
It's a little confusing whenever you first switch, but one thing I did notice, one of the first things I noticed on this picture, if you look at the rear of the slide right below the rear sight, they have these little ledges, I guess you could say, to give you a little better grip, and that's actually a really good idea, I think. Just kind of adds an extra little stop so your hand doesn't slide off the back of the slide when you're trying to rack it. Thought that was a pretty neat addition. People have been making slide plates for Glocks and stuff, I've seen, but those are always humongous, but these are probably a little more functional.
Yeah.
I do like that they didn't put a safety on it.
Well, it's got the safe, similar safe action trigger than the Glock.
Yeah. That was another big thing. The trigger, I'm not entirely sure, didn't really get a good feel from their advertising brochure, but they seem to have been saying that it was like half the travel of like the Glocks or other traditional striker fire pistols, so that might make it pretty neat in that aspect.
The trigger sounds like a dream. I would really love to check one out.
Yeah.
And maybe it is. Actually, you know what? I kind of tend to do this. I make my first assessment, and then I kind of think about it a little bit and change it up. They may, and it's a big maybe, but they may be kind of redefining what a striker-fired pistol could be.
Yeah, I think
having that really top-notch trigger in it.
Right. I think another really good innovation they had is those little side panels, because they have the rear back straps like most everybody's going to now, but then kind of like the M&P does, has those little side swells, but those aren't necessarily changeable. They're changeable with the back strap. But this you can change the side swells separately from the back strap, so that seems like a pretty good innovation.
I mean, there's.
I'd love to. Go ahead. Sorry.
With all the striker fire pistols on the market, I think there's still room for some obvious improvements that just no one's got around to doing. So I think H&K not having to, an existing model to kind of go by, they've kind of brought something to the table that it's like, oh yeah, a nice tactile ledge on the back of the slide. So when you're wearing gloves and you've got you're in competition or operating, sometimes it's the serrations aren't enough. The little relief at the bottom of the mag grip, so kind of like in the mag well, so you kind of can grab the base plate with your fingers and rip that out a little bit easier.
I didn't even notice that, honestly. But that is a pretty good.
Mean, like the side swells, they're taking little baby steps in a direction of a better all-around polymer pistol that just, between Smith & Wesson, XD, Glock, no one's really, they've all kind of rehashed themselves and repeated themselves in a slightly derivative way. It seems like this is really trying to push the ceiling a little bit higher. And as much as we trash talk HK fanboys, I haven't gotten any hate mail from any of them, which probably means that to afford their HK, they sold their computer and smartphone, and so they can't listen to the podcast anyway.
You say that, and that's always my first thing. Whenever I heard HK is coming out with a new striker fire pistol, I'm like, okay, something I'm never going to want to pony up the money to get, so I didn't really show that much interest. But when you told me you wanted to put it on the show, I figured I was kind of obligated to look at it. And now it does seem like a pretty good contender. And then real quick, Sam, to go back to your MSRP, it's $719. So
Okay,
probably
there you go.
$650.
So
It's a
be
great price for an price for an HK,
Right.
and a reasonable price for a striker fired.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
on
not
the
the
street
worst.
that'll be like between 650, somewhere in the 600 range, retail.
Yeah, I'm thinking you'll probably see some.
Or 700 or 775 in the state of New Jersey, depending on where you're shopping.
Or Bass Pro in general. But there was something else. Oh yeah. I'm kind of a stickler for stats, I guess you could say, or specs. So the first thing I did was looked up the specs and compared it to the obvious Glocks, because I'm looking at it, it's got a 15-round magazine, and I'm kind of thinking, okay, so is it a 19 size? Nope, it's the same size as the 17. It just has 2 less rounds. And then I look at the barrel length, and the barrel length is the same length as a 19, but the overall length is the same as the 17. That kind of threw me off. It's like a weird. I'm not entirely sure. I guess the barrel's a little more forward, but that.
Well, if you think about it, the internals had to be changed a bit, because you can't get what they're claiming as like the improvements on their trigger. You can't get that without kind of redesigning the wheel, right?
Right.
But you'd have to. Maybe they had to. That's why they had to go with a slightly shorter barrel, move it a little more forward, to get that fire control system in there to fit right.
Yeah, and I kind of, I see where that's coming from, but it's just kind of like, I'm the kind of person that's like, well, I can get a smaller package with the same exact barrel length and magazine capacity, but I'm just a pessimist probably.
Well, go ahead and cover the other stats so the listeners can really get an idea, what else is with this pistol.
Yeah, let me get it back up here. One thing I noticed, actually, honestly, one of the first things I noticed was the rear of the slide seems to have that Walther, like that P99 and the XD, where you can see the if the firing pin is back. So I'm thinking it might be more of a single action, like the XDs, than the more of that than like the Glock style. But here's the specs. We got an overall length of 7.34 inches, height of 5.4, overall width of 1.32, which is another ding for me because the Glocks are 1.18, something like it. So it's wider, longer, and taller. But I'm not going to hate on it too
It's
bad.
a duty gun. It's not.
Yeah. But then, let's see, they say the trigger travel is only 1/4 of an inch. That seems pretty short, to me at least. But then it's got the traditional HK polygonal barrel is one of the big things that they always have. So that's a little added velocity compared to some of the traditional rifled barrels. Wow, I just noticed this. The trigger return, I guess, to reset. It says return travel, so I'm assuming that's return to reset. It's 0.12 inches. That's less than 1/8 of an inch. So that's barely any movement to get back to reset.
I know. It's like if you can get that's like for me. Like I have a SIG 226 enhanced elite with the SIG short reset trigger, and once that trigger's in single action mode and you have that reset, it's just like I absolutely love that trigger. But I hate that double single.
Yeah.
I love my new Glock, but the return, it's not terrible, but it doesn't compare to that SIG trigger. And that creep and the slight mushiness in the Glock trigger, leaves a little bit to desired. That's why if they can get the consistency of a single action striker fired pistol, but have all the little kinks as far as the little bit of mushiness and the longer reset, if they can get that ironed out and it works effectively, which I'm sure H&K did, because like I said, they make fantastic stuff. It's just pricey.
Yeah. They said they've been developing it for 4 years, I believe. They've been developing it for about 4 years, so I guess they spent their time to iron it out rather than just rushing it to market like some other people may do. like you see a lot with
Remington.
technology.
Yeah,
But
good job on not bowing down to pressure and trying to rush something to market for SHOT Show.
right.
Just get a good gun that works, and so you don't get the slap back from the community on.
Right, and I didn't even think about that, Ryan. What you just said. They're just a few months after NRA, and just a few months even more after SHOT Show. They could have rushed it another 6 months and debuted it at SHOT Show, but they decided to wait till it was perfect to release it.
Yeah. So it says that the sights are 3-dot non-radioactive luminous. So how do you get luminosity without tritium or radium?
I would assume that's just a regular glow-in-the-dark kind of sight paint, I would guess. I was just looking at that.
Charge it up and then it glows.
Yeah. Or just the whale from the motherland makes it glow.
I would definitely be interested in shooting one. I don't know. I'm kind of with Sam on those magazine releases. A friend of mine has a Walther P99 and a P22, and those magazine releases are definitely a little weird. But maybe they'll take after Walther and come up with what did they do? Their PPQ M2, I believe it was, where they added that standard push button that we're all used to.
So, describe that magazine release for the listeners. It's like a...
It's if you imagine where the trigger guard meets the grip, right at that point, there is like the last quarter to half inch, about a half inch, actuates, and that's how you release the magazine. You actuate it down.
Yeah, it's like a paddle that flips downward rather than a button.
Right. The one benefit is it's I would say the one benefit that it does have, it's truly ambidextrous and consistent on both sides. Other striker fire like Glock Gen 4s, it is ambidextrous, but you'd have to switch it.
Kind of.
You'd have to switch it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this, let's say strong hands down, now you're using your weak hand, you can still actuate it with your thumb, versus having to retrain on a different hand using a pointer to actuate the magazine release. Just off the top of my head, like there are benefits to it, but I remembered not liking it every time I've touched it.
Yeah, it's definitely different if you're used to other things. Well, one thing, Sam kind of touched on it just now. The gun is truly ambidextrous. It's got the slide release on either side, and it doesn't look like a little half of the... if you're a left-handed shooter, you're not getting gypped on your slide release. It looks like the same size as the right-handed shooter would get. So that's another plus if you're a lefty.
Yeah, I think this is definitely... I watched their videos, and they're pretty awesomely done. Like, it's not like overly hyped marketing. It is kind of like, this is the most, like, this is the best striker fire pistol for operators operating in operations. But it convinced me, like, wow, look at all those improvements over all the other competitors that I'm more familiar with. I'd like to get more familiar with this, if you know what I'm saying.
I want to get to know ya. Ooh.
Right on. So if you're interested in following up on that, you go to HK's website and go through their products, and the VP9 is right up front and center, so you won't have a hard time finding it. Definitely something, if you're a connoisseur of striker-fired pistols or HKs, you won't want to miss out on it. So the next product this week is a AR-15 magazine loader, speed loader, if you will, and it's from Caldwell. It's just called the AR-15 Mag Charger. So there's a couple different AR-15 mag charging devices out on the market, and I looked at some of the competitors, and they're all kind of, it's interesting to me because some of them take so long to actually like load each bullet into the kind of the device, and then you put your magazine on there, and then you just charge, and it loads them all in there at once. But by the time you place each one of those with the bullets facing the right direction, you could have loaded the magazine by hand. Of course, the advantage being that if you load more than 5 or 6 mags like GI mags with your thumbs, you probably got a little bit of fatigue going. So that's why loading in high numbers, you'd want to use an assisted loader. Well, Caldwell has made a magazine charger that is a lot faster, and it's also compatible with more than just the GI, Stanag mags. You can use the PMag, you can use the Surefire 60 round mags, you can even use the 100 round Beta mags. So they're kind of uniquely one of the only mag chargers on the market that's compatible with all those different magazine platforms. So I know Sam's just dying to say something.
Can you feel me? You feel me fuming over here?
I can.
What Caldwell should have done is they should have made a dozen of them, gave it to the top YouTube gun guys that have the time and money to shoot all that ammo. I don't know about you guys, but it's become more readily available, and it's become slightly more affordable. But I'm not exactly running to the range doing mag dumps here. Maybe I'll go through 20 to 40 if I'm really going crazy that day, rounds of 223 at the range. And, you load as you go. Like, I don't need to show up with a bunch of magazines loaded up. And it just seems silly to me. It's like I said, things have gotten better, but have they gotten that much better that people are shooting that much 223 that they're going to pay $90 to load their magazines just that much faster without hurting their poor little thumbs? Listen, you're in the shooting sports. Your hands should be at least slightly weathered. Your hands should know what a callus is. And if you're loading PMags, really, you're loading PMags, like, your thumbs aren't really going to hurt. Like, you just push down. It's not like they're going to get abraded or calloused or I just hate.
I've got the NATO thumb, Pa.
Yeah, the NATO thumb.
Well, I think that you'd be. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of shooters that shoot more volume than you or I or all of us put together. People that are in training classes, or
True.
Anyway, I think that it has a market that needs something that works. So, I mean, it's granted whether or not the purpose would fit you, whether you'd buy it for yourself. I think it's still a viable option for some people, and you know that. But I thought it was
just.
Yeah, the principle of really, like, there's people that have the luxury of having that problem, like, oh man, I've got to shoot all this ammo, and I don't have enough time to load the magazines.
And I still hear people that, like, here and there that can't find, like, halfway reasonable 223. Still, like, it's touch and go. And it's like, here's a $90 thing to massively load all your beta mags with that you're I don't know. But my thing is, so it's designed to accept 50, like, traditional 50 round boxes.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, using a method of just turning the box over into those little holes. That's how it works.
Yep. That's how it works.
You point them, bullet down. Bullet down. And if it comes the opposite way, then I guess you just have to hand feed each hole.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
I mean,
I like this product.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they include a box that's compatible, because unless you reload and you already.
Compatible. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It comes with. It says it comes with a loading tray that you can transfer, like, from the 20 round boxes or whatever into the tray, and then flip that whole thing upside down into the loader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it had said it's compatible with a lot of the commercial boxes and stuff. And I'm gonna go. I don't know. I think I heard Sam say that he. Did you say you do like this product now?
if I was like a 3-gun shooter.
Yeah.
Or just a general carbine competition shooter, or if I was an instructor, or if I took a lot of classes, again, in my dreams, if I had the money and the other resources, this is a good product. And I think even though you won't save a tremendous amount of time, it's a lot more pleasant. And I know it sounds soft, and I hate sounding
Right.
soft because this is manly stuff going on here.
Yeah,
But
I
for the
was kind
risk
of
of
thinking
being
that.
soft, you just gently you place them in. You grab 2 or 3 at a time and kind of let the tips of the bullets find their way into the holes. Drop them, then just go crack, 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 and load the magazine up. That's cool. But like I said, I don't like to speak for people, but I think I'm more in tune with your average shooter. That maybe this won't find a place in the average shooter's range bag or in the average shooter's workbench.
Yeah, I think you're right there, but I think, like you said earlier, if you do 3-gun and training classes and stuff like that, especially if, let's say you have a course that maybe you're limited to 10-round magazines, to force you to reload or something along those lines. You just, you have a box of 50, looks like it loads 5 at a time, so you pump it twice, throw a new mag in, pump it twice, rather than having to feed 10 rounds at a time. Maybe you're in the middle of
I feel that.
courses of fire and you have to reload, so you just grab a box of 50, pump it in, and you're good to go. So you don't have people waiting on you in the firing line and all that good stuff that competitors love to do while you're reloading.
I appreciate all of that, but I think it's still a sissy boy luxury.
So I'm assuming you threw away the loader when you bought your Glock.
Toughen those thumbs up. What's that?
I'm assuming you threw away the loader when you bought your Glock.
Yeah, I don't even know where that is. I think it's still in the box. I'm probably safe.
You just pulled it out the first round you loaded into the Glock. You just shot the magazine loader with it, right?
Yeah, skeet style. I kind of just tossed it out in front of me and cracked it in the air. But no, well, see, that's free. That came with a gun. This is $90, and that's the other thing. It's like it's a luxury, and it's plastic, a spring. Like it's. Yes, it's a new design. It is proprietary, and it is compatible with a lot of things. But it's $90. Like, even like the middle of the road guy, like I would consider this if my volume increased slightly. For $45, $40, I think the MSRP is still a little high.
Yeah.
For what it is.
Well, now is that the MSRP you're speaking of, or can you buy it for $90?
The
MSRP is $90. So
okay, because I've seen some things that are ridiculously some things, honestly, though, are ridiculous when it comes to MSRP. Might be $90, and then it's only $45 or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe not half, but I guess it all depends on when it hits the market. Or is this new purchase for $90? I don't know. Well,
I mean, I agree that looking at this, I'm seeing lots of plastic, and I know like I've seen some like 1022 or just 22 long rifle mag loaders from Caldwell that were plastic as well, and I can't help but notice that with can't help but worry with high volume of use, whether some of those seams or weaker points of the plastic start to get warped or crack. So I would like to, since it's so easy to use, make sure someone gets to use it and loads like 10,000 rounds and see if there's any damage, or if the handle starts to excess force or whatnot. I'd just be a little bit concerned with how sturdy is that plastic. If you're really using this thing like they show in the video where he's just cranking down on it. It is fast. It is nice that no matter what size magazine, whether you've got a PMag that's a 40 round, 30 round, 20 round, 10 round, they'll all work and you don't have to stop and reset. So say you dumped 50 bullets into the tray and you just started crack. It's 5 bullets per downstroke of that handle. So you load 30 into your 30-round PMag, and then you take your 20-rounder, you put it in there, and then you can load the remaining 20 without really having to stop, at all. That's kind of nice.
I looked up on Cabela's, and their prices are sometimes funky too, but they're listed on Cabela's for $80. Yeah. And there's also a different picture of it to kind of see its final phase after you've cranked it all the way that whole tray, that whole interior tray with the little bullet holes, that entire thing slides as you ratchet through it.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess you kind of you push it back in,
indexes. Yeah.
and you just push it all the way back
So,
in and
I mean,
reload it.
if you own a Betamag or a lot of the Surefire 60 round mags, this might be more up your alley, because us lowly AR-15 peasants running the 30 round mags, we might not see the issue, but we've never been blessed with the problem of loading a 100-round magazine. So,
well, if you're paying $300
or the
for
people,
a 100-round magazine, then you might want to pay $80 for a mag loader.
or people like myself living behind the Iron Curtain of New Jersey, limited to 15-round magazines, and God forbid if Christie doesn't veto this bill, potentially going down to 10-round magazines. Yeah, this ain't exactly my cup of tea.
Well, then you can load 10. If you've got 10-round magazines, you can load 5 of them in a snap, man.
Yeah. Crack.
That's right. So, if you go over to, they're owned by Battenfield Technologies, so you have to go to www.btibrands.com, and then you click on Caldwell, and then look under their products for AR-15 accessories, and find the AR-15 mag charger. I think it's cool. I'd like to try one for sure. I typically, when I'm going to matches, I load all my magazines anyway. But if you're like into reloading, you typically, most reloaders buy those Frankfurt Arsenal or what is that, the Mountain something gear brand of
the little clamshell cases.
Yeah, clamshell cases. You're probably putting all your reloads in those anyway, in the 50-round quantities. So to have this interface with that already, so you're like, okay, I've got to, I want to load all my reloads, just dump it in. I think that's kind of nice. Me personally, I don't shoot enough volume of 223 to use this, and that's not to say that it's limited to 223 as well. I'm pretty sure it is compatible with 204 Ruger, and so they're not listing 300 blackouts, so I don't think it's compatible with that yet. Just 223, 556, and 204. So that's kind of a bummer. If it was compatible with your 300 blackout, you'd get a whole lot more of those guys that buy anything that say 300 black on them.
Yeah, give it.
Well, I'm sure in a couple months they'll throw a sticker on it that says black edition for 300 blackout. And
hey, Sam.
What's going on? What's going on with your mic, man?
Better.
Nope.
No.
Better. Hold on. Sorry.
Whatever you did, undo it. You sound like the Terminator.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Can't hear you now.
Yeah, I can't hear you now, buddy.
Still nothing.
Small technical difficulties, but I think we've talked about the AR-15 mag charger enough. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next product while Sam's getting his microphone back up. The Stag is now releasing complete uppers in the 3HT-M configuration. If you're not aware, Stag makes some pretty sweet-looking 3-gun AR-15s, and if you were really interested in their upper receiver and kind of their brand of handguard that's got like a really neat kind of scalloped texture on the bottom, you can now buy these uppers separately and just mate them to any one of the lowers you have laying around. So if you are considering a new build and haven't quite decided on buying a complete upper, you should definitely give these Stag models a look. So they are available in both left and right hand versions. It's got a 16-inch free-floated government profile barrel with a carbine length gas system.
I
Like
see.
oh, there you go.
You're just
Sam
gonna walk over my dead corpse.
This show must go on, man. All right, cool. Good to have you back.
You're just walking over my dead corpse there. I'm back.
I knew you'd get back in here.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So this handguard also comes with some Diamond Head USA. The handguard is Diamond Head USA, but also the sights that come with it are flip up sights, and those are from Diamond Head as well. And I think those are like $200 iron sights. I think if you bought those separately.
Yeah, I believe they're somewhere up there. They seem like pretty good sights. I think we talked about their 45 degrees a couple weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
They seem like a pretty good, solid, and intuitive too. I like their the way you just kind of line up the diamonds rather than having a post hovering somewhere in a circle, But this handguard you mentioned, they got the little scallops on the bottom. Those things look pretty slick. Just kind of like to give you a little extra handhold, and then they look pretty slim. Also, the handguard does, and I know that's kind of a big thing with the 3-gun is to slim it down so you can get that strong thumb over bore kind of hold on it.
Yeah, and it even extends far enough to where on it's kind of got on the forward of the handguard. It's kind of got the lower part sticks out farther than the top part than the front sight. So let's see, if it's a 16-inch barrel, it almost looks like that bottom comes out 15 and a half inches. So to have that extra bit of handguard going underneath you for resting on like barricades or any kind of support, so that way you can take full advantage of that and also get your hand way out there if you're one of those kind of operators that stick your hand way out there and crank your thumb over the top of it. And I don't know, I've tried it. It's fun but goofy. But this would definitely facilitate that. The only thing, and I understand with price and just availability of parts, that dang A2 bird cage flash hider that they just throw on there. I mean, those are like, at $5, ex surplus parts. They could have, partnered with another company and thrown a little bit better on there. But maybe they just assume if you're throwing this on a rifle, you're going to change out the flash guard the flash hider if it means enough to you anyway. So
I was just going to say that it's like they're not going to just sell it without anything.
Yeah, it's basically just
there's such a great variety of flash hiders, compensators, everything like that out in the market today that everyone kind of wants that certain look, that kind of it. And literally now the muzzle device is like the cherry on top. Right at the end of the barrel, it's like it makes or breaks. It really ties the upper together.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, we got to throw something on there. So here you go. Because in the grand scheme of like Stag's buying power, they're practically free. To them.
Yeah, I think maybe that they know people. Possibly they know that people are just they're so picky that they're going to change it out anyway. So why give them a $150 break that they're just going to throw into the drawer? Just give them the basic one so they can put whatever they want.
Right. And
but
another thing I want to
in your drawer.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've got 4 or 5 of them in the drawers from taking off, so it's kind of like, Right. I would have liked if I had to pay an extra $50 and get a nicer break. Convince me that if this is for 3-gunning, throw a 3-gunning break on there.
Right. It would be smart of them to partner, kind of like one of you guys said, partner with some other companies, maybe 2 or 3 other companies. That way you can order it with a standard A2, or maybe you could get the, a Troy or one of the other bigger brands
they don't have
the little upgrade.
They don't have Troy, but what they do have is you can get their compensator. Like, you can either get the A2 flash hider. So, like, if you click on the right-hand or left-hand model, you can go to the product page. And one thing I do want to give a shout-out to is they have a really user-friendly website and really convenient specified post-band configurations. So, like, for me in New Jersey, if I wanted to get this, there's a Massachusetts and New Jersey category versus other companies that just have band compliant, and it's like you can't get any sort of muzzle device, which is hideous. There's limitations in New Jersey, but you can get certain things, and they'll send you the upper like 100% legal for your state. Depending on where you live, you could select that, and I think that's really kind of cool. It helps.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Now that you do mention that, they do have the little upgrades. I just didn't see it on the same page. You can upgrade to their specific 3-gun compensator, which it seems like they'd be a little smarter for them to show it with that, just to
right.
Kind of like the truck commercials. They say, base MSRP, and then, but the way it's showed, it's $10,000 more.
Yeah.
Right, and you can get it with a Streamlight, which that price for a TLR-1S isn't that good. You'd think maybe if you're buying a package or giving you a price break, but that's like $20 more than you'd pay on Amazon.
Right.
And
then if you bought it on Amazon, you could always support the network. Yeah,
by using the affiliate links.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they've got you can bundle it with optics, but like an EOTech 517 for $459. I mean that seems, I have to pull that up, but they got an EOTech XPS 2 that's $489, and then they've got a Trijicon ACOG 4x32. They don't mention what reticle it is, but that's $1,500. I mean that seems high. I've seen ACOGs for lower than that. I guess it just depends on which one. And I've seen them for like 12 or 11, but if you've got the income and you don't want to wait for all those things to come to you and pay shipping for each one, you just want them all lumped on your upper and sent right to your door, you can do it this way.
Yep, buy it all in one box.
Yeah, you can get the Magpul vertical foregrip added for $25. I'd just as soon pick that up at the store. I should also mention that this does have 2 calibers you can choose from, so 5.56, 223, and then if you'd like it chambered in 300 blackout, it's just an extra $50. And those are not compatible with the New York or Connecticut post-ban plus packages or other muzzle devices. So if you pick the 300 blackout, I think you're pretty hosed on the muzzle devices. I don't know if they've got. They're just going to put a crown on there, or I mean not a crown, but just a thread protector. But for the price of just $755 for the base, I mean that's a pretty good thing to build off of. If I was interested in building another AR, like I was kind of seriously considering, picking up a Stag. Now that I can get just the upper, maybe I'm considering getting rid of some other uppers and getting this instead. Because Stag makes good stuff, and it seems like a good deal as long as you don't go crazy on all the trying to bundle it and save money when it just doesn't seem like you're going to save much from bundling. So beware of that.
Poo-poo Stag. Give us some deals here.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting a sweet deal on an upper. There's your deal right there.
Yeah, it's a pretty good price.
It said $755. What I'm seeing is $725. So I don't know if we have a different, or maybe
I got $725. Is somebody looking at the left-handed model?
Maybe.
Hey Sam, real quick, you're kind of windy.
Stop breaking wind, man.
You guys trying to sweat me out.
That's what it is. To clarify, the left-handed model is $755, and then the right-handed model is $725. So that's actually a pretty good, $30 to upgrade it to left-handed. It seems like that might be a pretty good value.
Yeah, lefties rejoice. So if you're interested in that, go to Stag's website, www.stagarms.com, and then look for their model 3TH, and then the L-M for the left-handed, or just the 3T or 3HT-M for the right-handed. So let's get right into the sponsored product spotlight. This show's bandwidth is brought to you by Action Target, and if you purchase anything through their website and you use the promo code Radio15, you'll get 15% off your order, which is sweet for buying some steel. If you go to the firearmsinsider.tv page and click on the affiliate link, or go to firearmsinsider.tv/action-target, we get some track back from that. So we would appreciate you doing that to get to their website. This week I'm going to be talking about their pepper poppers. If you're not familiar, pepper poppers are narrow, and they're fun to pronounce. Pepper popper.
Say it 5 times fast.
Yeah, right. And they're pretty much a mainstay for most competitions. And Action Target has pepper poppers in several different sizes, in the whole family, and of course the price differs with each one depending on what your needs are. So if you need a full-size pepper popper for shooting pistol and having a target that's kind of like 100% size, which is probably about to your chest line. That's just the regular PT pepper popper, and that's $295. They've also got the 2/3 size, which is $229. They've also got the PT Colt popper, which is a little smaller, and that's $225. And also, I wanted to mention that they have a rubber kit for $69 that puts rubber base pads, little rubber disc foots on the bottom of the target, as well as a rubber stopping, I don't know what you call it, just a rubber cushion so that the falling popper doesn't clang on the steel. And the rubber feet are for traction, for like if you're shooting at an indoor, or there's the targets sit on a concrete platform, so the metal doesn't like skid around each time you shoot it and it falls over. So it kind of help give you some extra friction and from doing that, and also cushion the loud twang noise if that's something that you want to avoid. So a pepper popper is gravity functioning. Basically, you hit it with a round and it falls over, and you have immediate feedback into, oh, I hit it. The part of the problem with some like handmade pepper poppers that I've shot is that if they're not easy to adjust as far as the angle that it's propped up, some like 115 grain 9mm will not knock it over. I mean, you'd have to like hit that thing like 3 times and in the right order to deliver enough energy to finally break that apex point and have this thing fall over. It's kind of a real pain. That's why a lot of people shoot 40 or 45 at competitions, just so they can knock over these pepper poppers with one shot. Because there's nothing worse. There's nothing that screws your stage up more if you're just dumping ammo into one pepper popper and it's not going over. If you're shooting the lighter loads. So these from Action Target are actually nice because you can adjust the angle a lot easier. Most people just put a giant honking bolt in there and you just kind of like tighten it or lengthen it, and that kind of adjusts where it's sitting. This is a lot easier to adjust, and also that the plates are reversible, which is just to increase the longevity, it's only a preventative measure. So if you have any kind of dings or damage in the target at all, someone shot it with 458 SOCOM and you chewed their ear off, you could always flip it around and have a clean side to shoot at. And they advise to never shoot at a target that's got dings in it because that can alter the way that the rounds ricochet. Yeah, and you can select the steel grade too. For an extra $30, you can get heavy duty steel. So then I think they're 308 and up is their heavy duty line. So it should be able to withstand higher velocity rounds with more wampum than just the standard ones, especially for rifles. That's pretty much it. I think I've seen kits out there that for making it automated as far as having them reset. Action Target does not offer those. At least I couldn't find any. But if that's something you're interested in, you can probably find somebody who made a third-party product that can attach to it and have a little actuator or pneumatic thing that can pop it back up if you're shooting long range and you don't want to run all the way back out there and reset the popper. I think it's definitely.
Ryan.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Quick question. Do you know about how big on the full size that center circle is?
I do not see that in their description. I'd have to say just by shooting at regular full-size ones, it's probably about an 8-inch or 10-inch square, or I'm sorry, circle.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah. Definitely smaller than 12 inches. I want to definitely say 8.
Okay. Now, what was
of
it
course,
you said you were shooting this weekend? Which one of their models?
Oh, and I was shooting the Evil Roy with just a 12-inch circle head on it.
Okay.
So and I did a highlight on them on an earlier episode, and I didn't realize that actually with the head installed, you could still, fold it down and transform it into the compact transporting mode of it. And the plate, the legs, and the plate, they don't really impede each other, so it was like I could set them in the back of my truck, or you could probably set them in the trunk of a car and not have to worry about it. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. These action targets seem to take a lot of stuff into account with their designs, not just throwing something together and putting it out there.
No, I mean they want you to get the most use out of the product, not go broke buying it, and be happy with it, and get a lot of quality use out of it as well. I would say that if you are using this for rifles, I would do the Colt popper for sure, just because you don't need an actual kind of slender silhouette to shoot at for rifle. It gives you a smaller target to aim at, and it's cheaper, $225. You're saving $70 as compared to going with the PT pepper popper. With that savings, I would go ahead and upgrade the steel to the heavy duty, so that way you could shoot it with your 300 Win Mag or your 308, and get longer life out of it. So that would be my recommendation for the rifle guys out there. And if you're into just pistols, just go with the regular popper or the 2/3 size. So if you're interested, go to actiontarget.com and go to their store, or you go to store.actiontarget.com and then look under steel targets and the pepper popper family. Yeah, and that's how you find those. They're pretty cool. I wish I could have some steel that fit into each and every category to shoot from, but yeah, the Evil Roy stands that I got are pretty well universal. I mean, especially having two. I need to get a video camera so I can better film this, but have two of them on alternate corners of the little range and be able to transition from left all the way to the right and back and forth. Yeah, real fun stuff. So let's get right into the main topic of the show, which is the panel reviews, and we're going to let New Jersey resident go first.
Oh, happy day.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. I just, again, tinge of jealousy thinking about shooting steel. Not too frequently I get to do that, although my range is putting in some steel, which is fantastic, and it's fun to shoot at. Yeah, so the item I will be reviewing is the Magpul SGA shotgun stock for the 870. This 870 has gone through a couple different configurations, starting its life as a normal 870 26-inch vent rear barrel, picked up on sale an 18.5-inch barrel, threw on a magazine extension, other little goodies along the way, and since I wanted to be super tactical, I got a Black Hawk pistol grip collapsible stock and thought that was the sweetest thing ever until I actually tried to shoot it, and it was very uncomfortable for me to shoot. Didn't like the ergonomics on it, and just all around didn't work out too well for me. So I decided to do what I should have done in the first place, and got the Magpul stuff, and it has reinvigorated my Magpul fanboy dumb. Love this thing. The ergonomics on it are great. Its claim to fame is kind of the Magpul name. User adjustability. You could adjust up to, I believe it's a little over 2 inches in the length of pull, and about, I think, up to, you can add an additional 0.75 inches of comb height. So if you're running an optic on top of a rail, you can get a better cheek weld. So it's a lot better as far as fitting to the individual user. I also found that it doesn't bind up at all. Like the forend is really solid. The way it mounts to the way it mounts to the what is the term for that tube that attaches to the rods that go into the fire?
Action tube or something along those lines?
Yeah, let's go with action tube. The action tube, the way it mounts up to that is rock solid. It comes with the tool to change out the forend wrench, and it couldn't have been easier. It was more a pain in the butt taking off the magazine extension in the barrel to get to it than it was to actually swap out everything. Installing the stock itself was a snap. But getting back to the kind of the 8 points thing before I get too far away from it is, the target market is honestly, it's any shotgun application, because the ergonomics, you can clay shoot with the stock, and it has better ergonomics than the original 870 stock. Of course, Magpul is all about the tactical stuff, so it's kind of initially for that tactical market. And, it's really, especially with a shotgun, ergonomics are key to having accurate shooting and consistent shooting. So it's really anybody who fits well on this platform. It features, like I said, it has that high level of adjustability in both length of pull and comb height. It's made darn tough and also lightweight. Even though the stock itself, I said it's made out of the Magpul, the same polymer material as all the other Magpul stuff. So it's real tough and a little bit of weight savings. The angle on the if you guys could see it on camera, but the angle of the part of the stock that you actually grip is a little more pistol-y, in the sense the angle's a little further down, so you can get under it better. It's a much better wrist position. The benefits, like I said, the benefits for me is I threw on all the little spacers to put that length of pull all the way out, and for me, it was, I didn't realize, like, normal shotguns fit fine on me, but that little extra bit that last spacer gave me really kind of, it gave me a little more breathing room, and it felt a lot more comfortable. So I'm really excited to actually take this out and do some clay shooting with it, just to kind of really run through its paces to see how it works for me. But that's a main benefit, is that user adjustability. Another benefit of it is the forend. The forend uses has the little channels in it, like all the other Magpul MOE equipment. It uses those rails, and you can put rails anywhere you see those slots. And you could put foregrips, angled foregrips, lights, lasers, smoke machine, whatever you want to put on it, you can put on it, and you can put as much rails or as little rails as you want. So that you have that end user customization, which is also really good. It's available in three finishes: black, flat dark earth, and safety orange. I suppose for less lethal options, or if someone's deer hunting with a slug gun and they want everyone to see them, another bit of safety, maybe you use it. I haven't really ever heard anything negative about these stocks. I only just started looking out there for reviews, and when I type up my final review for this, we'll see what's going on with it. But they're well liked. They've been around for a little while, and they're continuing to be around. So they're pretty positive as far as the market. The price point is $129.99 as a set, or separately, because you could either buy the two items separately or you can buy them together. And there's no cost savings for buying them together, but I don't remember the exact breakdown. I want to say the fore end is $29.99 and the stock itself is $99.99. And it's a little pricey, but you definitely get what you pay for. It's rock solid. It mounts up really easily. And so far, I'm a huge fan of it. What else do we have? You could really get these anywhere. You might be able to find them in a local gun store. You could definitely find them in your big box stores like Cabela's or other outdoor stores like that. But as far as a local gun store, you may find them. I would say probably rare. But they're available all over the place online. Amazon, I believe you could still find them on there. Magpul's website, you can find them on there. Brownells, which is where I ordered mine from, was Brownells. Use the affiliate link, order from Brownells. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I would certainly consider it for future shotgun applications as well. But my rating, I think the price, you get what you pay for, and it's a good price for what it is. It's not heavy, but it doesn't seem light or chintzy. Like, the stock isn't overly heavy. It's a nice weight, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna break. It feels real solid. Customizability. I'm making up words now. Customizability of that stock, like I said, you could adjust that comb height, you could adjust that length of pull. That's another huge benefit for me, and I think for anyone, because it's designed to have like an entry style stock, like a real short stock, which also lends itself to smaller shooters, or you could throw that extra 2 inches on there and you have slightly longer than a standard stock, so then you have bigger shooters. So like, it's not just a tactical stock, like I said. It's really, it can have many applications. I give it an 8.5. Yeah.
Did you mention the different sling options available as far as mounting?
Oh yeah, you can put QD swivels or QD spots on the stock, and as well as there's I don't know if you guys can see it there, but there's an HK style loop that meshes right between the receiver and the front of the stock, and I bought that. You have to buy that separately, but that's a nice piece that's also ambidextrous. You can put it on the left side or the right side depending on how you want to run it. You have that. Magpul also makes a barrel band that also has another sling point on that. So this, if you run this as a system with either the loop plate, the barrel band, or QD on your stock, you have several options as far as 1 point, 2 point, however you want to run this.
Don't they also have the slots in the stock, kind of like the like similar to the M1 carbine, kind of that little post on the side of the stock? Or am I misremembering? Show me the side of the stock.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I forgot
okay.
that part
That's
as
what I
well.
was talking
There's a place to loop a sling through if you want to run sling that way. I'm sorry, you guys were complaining about the wind in here, so now I'm sweating and I can't even focus. But yeah, you can also mount it through by looping it appears to be like a 1.5 inch wide, so it would fit a 1.5 inch sling. But yeah, that's kind of my next step with this gun is I want to try to figure out a sling option for myself, see what I like, because there, like I said, there's many different options with this platform.
Cool. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
nice stock. I know a lot of people when they first saw it and it didn't really hit the market, and so no one really got a chance to feel it, and they were just making wild accusations based on just judging the look of it. They're like, "Oh man, that looks heavy and awkward and bulky, like putting a boat oar on the end of your shotgun." I've got one too, and like Sam said, they're not too heavy. They balance the gun well. And it's Magpul. It's good stuff, man. And it takes another tip if you've got a shotgun that's already got a coating on it. You can send this to a hydro dipper, and that Magpul composite material really adheres well to the hydro dipping film. So if you can get it camoed in any color you want, it loves Krylon. You can use that as well to make it match the rest of your gun.
Yeah, I actually thought about getting one of these pretty soon to replace my that Hogue short length of pull stock that I have that I reviewed a few weeks ago. I just haven't gotten one yet, but I do plan on buying one in the future.
I want to do one in all orange and just slap FRN logos everywhere on it, and just have it be the FRN branded shotgun. And then
There you go.
if we could get someone to donate like an 870, and then we can put these parts on there and put some decals, and then like give it away, that would be pretty sick. Like that would be an awesome giveaway. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean,
I'd say
Yeah,
if I
just send it to me. I'll test it out.
yeah, right.
I want
I
to
was going to
safety
say
check
if I
it
wasn't
first,
exempt from winning to use a Mossberg, but I am, so I don't really care too much.
So, all right. Well, thanks for that review, Sam. That was awesome. I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, I think I may have failed to mention it, but they also make it for Mossberg shotguns.
Yep, that's
Right?
good info to know. Yep,
Yeah, they do.
that's true.
Okay, I wasn't just making that up. Good.
All right, cool. So, TJ, what did you bring for us today?
Yeah, I have the Maglite XL200 LED flashlight. It is a Maglite, but it's not your standard Maglite that you think with the 2, 3, 4, 5 big D cell batteries. It's actually a little closer to the form factor of one of those little 3-cell AAA battery powered lights that you buy at the checkout line at AutoZone or something like that. It's powered by the same 3 AAA batteries. It's about 1 inch in diameter, and it's actually pretty close to the size of those. But that's about where the similarities stop, because this thing is pretty awesome whenever you compare it to one of those. And I bought this light. It was actually my first, I guess you could call it carry light. First light I decided that I was going to carry every day, because it's always good to have a flashlight. Well, that lasted about a day because I didn't like the 1 inch tube. Just couldn't. It just too much pain in the butt, too much bulk in my pockets. So I just scrapped it and bought a different light that I previously reviewed. But the website advertises that it's a high output of 172 lumens, and it's got a really deep reflector, which allows the light to throw the beam pretty far. And I'd say it's probably usable to at least 100 yards. And it doesn't have the orange peel type texture that a lot of lights do, but that lets it get that farther throw. But it does have a little bit you can see shadows and stuff like that, being that it doesn't have that orange peel. But the user interface is definitely different from pretty much anything you'll ever I've seen lately. But the way it works, it has 1 button on the back, and the way you hold on a second.
Yeah, I think when TJ will be right back. I think maybe he had some dogs that were.
Okay, sorry about that. I was closing the door. I think my wife just got home and Got the dogs barking. But
That's
anyways,
what-
okay, start over. The user interface is definitely different from anything I've ever seen in flashlights. It has this one click. It's got a single button on the back, but the amount of times you click it puts it in a different mode. So if you do a single click, it comes on. If you double tap it real quick, it puts it into the strobe mode. 3 taps puts it into a nightlight mode, which is actually pretty cool. It puts it on your whatever your current setting is of brightness, and then as soon as you set it down, like on a table or something like that, it dims down to, I honestly think it's even dimmer than its lowest setting. So if you're, I'd say it'd probably come in handy if you're camping or something, and you just set it to that, to where you wake up in the middle of the night, it's pitch black, you just grab it and it all of a sudden comes on at its brightest, or whatever you had it at before, so you don't have to fumble around trying to find the switch. But 4 clicks is it has this accelerometer built in, which I'll demonstrate in a second, but it's got a signal mode, I guess you could call it, that uses that accelerometer, and then 5 clicks is the standard SOS. But the accelerometer that I mentioned, if you hold the flashlight, try to get it on camera, so if you're not watching, you might want to go look it up on YouTube afterwards, but you can click it on and hold it, and then you rotate your hand and it dims down. I don't know if that's too bright for the camera. Let me try to get a different angle. You hold it down, rotate your hand, and the more you rotate or the less you rotate, kind of like a motorcycle throttle, I guess you could say. But that also, if you double click it and hold it,
can you make motorcycle noises while you do it?
Vroom vroom. might give away some tactical advantage there, Sam. But anyways,
Well,
if you do the same
actually,
thing, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No. I'm being rude. Continue your review.
Okay. If you do the same thing, like I was saying, double click to get to strobe. I'm not going to show that because strobe always shows up funny on cameras. But you double click to get into strobe. If you hold it there and you rotate your hand, like I said, the throttle, it'll slow or speed the strobe. So that's a pretty neat feature. But then the signal mode I was talking about, let me set it to it real quick. It works where you rotate it, and as you rotate it, up and down, I guess, forward and back, however you want to call it, it blinks. So you could set it to like Morse code, doing it that way.
So it doesn't automatically broadcast Morse code. You have to still do it yourself, but it just knows when you're.
Yeah, it's like a accelerometer in your phone, kind of. You know, you rotate it, like I was saying, kind of like that throttle motion. You rotate it like along the. It's kind of weird to explain over voice, but it's like you rotate it. You have to kind of hold it horizontally to the ground, I guess you could say, or parallel to the ground, and then you rotate. I don't know. It's confusing.
Well, but if you picture, if you're holding it in your hand with your normal thumb behind operating position, if you just bend your wrist down.
Right. If you just kind of angle it downward. That's why I said the video might kind of make it a little better to understand. But then there is a. Seems like that's all the features.
There's the SOS mode also, though.
Yeah. If you tap it 5 times real quick, that one you don't have to manually do that, Ryan. I'm not sure if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, but that's what I was asking.
Okay, yeah, you can set the SOS to do it by itself, but if you just, if you know Morse code and want to do something like that, you can. Anyways, let's see. The one of the drawbacks to it is it's completely round. I have a little piece on there that I'll talk about in a second, but it's just a completely cylindrical piece of aluminum. So if you set it down on a table, it's almost guaranteed to roll off and roll under your bed somewhere you don't know where it's at. So what you can do is go. I have it linked in my review, but it's called the Mini Maglite Accessory Pack, which is actually intended for the standard 2 AA Mini Maglite, but the head is the same size, and it comes with this little hexagonal sleeve, I guess you could say, that just slips over, and it keeps it from rolling around. So you can set it down on your table, and it's not going to roll around. It's just a little piece of rubber. And that also comes with some lenses, so if you want a blue and red a blue and red filter. You can throw that on there too for their different applications. But
America.
yeah. In the end, it's a very feature-packed flashlight, and it's relatively user-friendly once you figure it out. At first you're kind of like, what the heck's going on? But then once you figure it out, it's pretty user-friendly. I bought my mom one actually for her birthday because she liked mine so much. But see, the claim to fame is compact flashlight that offers 5 basic, easy-to-use functions and stunning brightness. The target market is sporting goods and general use. The key features is that it's compact, bright, multiple modes, motion-controlled power level, which is that accelerometer I very terribly described, and then it runs off of 3 AAA batteries, so it's a pretty common power source. The other aesthetic options, it's available in black, red, gray, and blue, and I believe they also offer it in like like the standard blister pack kind of thing you might buy at Walmart, or the display case that you can gift, like a gift case, I guess you could say, not necessarily a display case, but it's kind of a somewhat hard plastic case. What others are saying says, leading the Maglite product line both in terms of function and performance, the XL200 is a great multi-purpose performance flashlight, which I highly agree with. It just wasn't quite for me for everyday carry. But the MSRP on Maglite's website is $44.95. If you go to Amazon, you can get it for $37.85, and I believe they have all the color options there as well. And so I've got my pluses. It's bright, far reach, somewhat inexpensive compared to some of the other tactical type high output flashlights. Multiple modes. Some of the negatives, it's got a relatively low runtime if you have it on full blast all the time, because it is just powered by the 3 AAAs, which don't have the greatest runtime. The user interface is a little strange, and then without the use of that rubber sleeve, it rolls too easily, and it's somewhat bulky with its 1-inch diameter. And I gave it an overall review of 6.5, and that's it.
Still, for the price point, it seems like you're getting a pretty smart flashlight as far as the accelerometer features, if that's something that interests you.
Yeah, and they actually do have 2 lower models, the XL50 and the XL100. They each have different features, I believe. I don't think either one of those have the accelerometer, and they just have different features. So I guess if you want to go on Maglite's website, I think they have short videos where you can compare the 3 just to figure out, if you like it. It's definitely not your standard Maglite, so that's pretty awesome.
There, yeah.
One thing I don't think I mentioned, you can screw the cap off, and rather than having a focused beam, it just puts out this big wide dot, so you could use it as it's a really smooth wide dot that I guess you could use as more of a spotlight than a focused beam. So I just wanted to mention that too.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that review.
Yep.
For the second time, I'm actually going to forego the review I was going to do this week, which is fine. And let's get right into the tech, gadget, or app section, because I have a feeling this is going to have a little bit more. It's going to take some time to talk about, and there's going to be some opinions being thrown around here that I'm sure is going to be very interesting. So it's the Electronic Arms E-Trigger for the Ruger 1022. And what it basically is a electronic trigger that replaces your 1022. So that's the bottom half of the receiver. What do you call that? The trigger housing?
Yeah, I believe so. That's what you call it.
Yeah, for anyone familiar with a Ruger 1022, it replaces that entire trigger housing that comes out of the receiver. But then it adds another several inches sticking out the bottom.
It is a little bit large and protrudes from your gun, but the benefits is it's electromechanical trigger similar to those found on autoloading firearms used in Olympic competition. The E-Trigger system makes use of readily available factory-style firing mechanism parts. So the hammer, the sear, the spring, the disconnector are all in a similar arrangement to a factory 1022. But the E-trigger has a user-adjustable precision electronic switch. So when the switch is operated, an electronic circuit is completed and thus fires one single round. So don't think that this is an electronic trigger to turn your 1022 into like a 3-round burst or fully auto. This is just meant for very precise single shots, so it doesn't break any BATFE laws. So what do you guys think? I mean, obviously it's large and obtrusive, and it kind of limits your stock options, but
Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily would. I guess some
Yeah,
stocks,
because
but
that
what's that?
I was saying, going along with what you were saying, I don't think lengthwise, as far as where it inserts into the receiver, it's going to be the same dimensions, but it just sticks out the bottom. And if from looking at it, there's that little part in the back, the trigger is kind of captured within the unit. It's not a typical trigger where like you see it pointing down and you can see the bottom of it. It takes up and it is kind of encased within the unit, and so it appears that you could still hold, like it would fit on any stock, and you could use it with any stock. But why? If they're claiming all this, like the accuracy benefits, the accuracy benefits and the fine-tuning benefits of this trigger, but you could only put it in a factory 1022, I just I don't see the huge benefit of that, because the guys that are doing 50-yard dime-sized groups with a Volquartsen custom job from the ground up, this could take it to the next level, but it won't. It says it may not fit, and then once you start trying to make it fit, then you're running the risk of damaging accuracy by trying to make it fit. I just find it's kind of like a weird product, and you're fixing a problem that doesn't exist.
well,
I think they're. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, you go ahead first, TJ.
Okay, I think maybe they're trying to sell it as you don't have to do anything to the internals like the hammer and sear or anything, so you can keep that at the factory pull weight, whatever it comes from Ruger, but the electronic trigger you could dial down to where maybe you only have a half-pound trigger, so where you're barely touching it, and then once it gets that electrical impulse, it does whatever poundage it needs to pull the rest on the other end. So you still have the safety and reliable ignition of a full pound, of a full weight springs and all that, without having to have that full pull weight. Because I know whenever I think I got one of the Volquartsen kits, I think it is, the hammer and sear set that you put into the 1022. I know now that I've done that, I think the spring's just not powerful enough to ignite some of the primers. I think I'll shoot one, and then the next every other one almost is a light strike. So I can reload them, throw them back in the magazine, and they'll shoot fine, which I'm honestly not sure if that's necessarily safe. So don't do that on my recommendation. But
listen, if you wait and it doesn't hang fire, go ahead and shoot it again.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, that's an inconvenience, and I've actually decided to swap it back out for my factory trigger, just so I have the reliability back. So this could kind of cover that reliability issue, I guess.
Like I see what you're saying, but like what I said is, it may not fit into aftermarket receivers, and to my understanding, most of the people that are building real super accurate 1022s, they're not 1022s anymore. They're just 1022 designs manufactured by Volquartsen and other Tactical Solutions, I think, is another company. There's they're 1020. It's like an AR-15. No one, seldom do you find someone that has an actual Colt AR-15. You have every other manufacturer under the sun making a quote-unquote AR-15. That's why the 1022s that would really benefit from this, they may not be able to work with it. So, meh. It's just like a wash to me.
Well, it's powered by a 9-volt battery, and they're saying that since the hammer sear interface retains its original factory settings, the drop safety similar to the factory trigger mechanisms is still there. The trigger switch or the trigger can be adjusted from a light pull to a heavy pull just using simple tools. So instead of permanently modifying, stoning, or polishing your sear or hammer, it's no longer necessary. My thought is that if you want a finer trigger and a lighter trigger, and you're going through the process of either hand polishing or stoning those components, or just buying the Volquartsen kits, you don't want to switch back to a heavier trigger. You're pretty much, you want that permanent modification, so your gun's always going to shoot lighter. Especially for the price point. I mean, Volquartsen kits aren't cheap, but this e-trigger right now I've only been able to see it available on eBay from the maker, and it's $450. So for that much money, I mean, you can get some sweet Volquartsen stuff.
Right.
So the return on interest may not be there for you, but they are saying that it's since it's an electric trigger, it's got very little mechanical motion to reset, so there's virtually no creep, no perfect travel, and perfect crisp for every shot, or crisp break for every shot. I mean, the one thing that I saw interesting when I did a little bit more digging, because I couldn't find the electronic trigger website, I did find their Facebook page though, and what they have right now is a 3D model of a prototype of a bullpup furniture kit that actually has this installed in it. So basically, if you're not familiar with bullpups, the Achilles heel is the connector bar that connects the trigger all the way back to the action. Having an electronic trigger installed, and actually in this 3D model, it's a lot slimmer. Like, it's not hanging out the bottom like some of these actual photos that they have. So you're essentially eliminating that trigger bar issue, and so you can have a 1022 in a bullpup with no trigger bar. It's an electronic trigger, so you pull the trigger, completes the circuit, and then it sends that signal back to the receiver where it fires the round. That, when that comes out, is going to be cool. I hope that if they do get that to work, that they get some investments and really ramp up supply and manufacturing, because I'd hate to see another Red Jacket ZK22 situation to where there's a cool stock out there, everybody wants it, and it's like a 6-month, 8-month, year, 18-month wait for your kit. So especially if it's just going to be made out of a 3D printer or something like that. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that because it's a sweet-looking bullpup. I'd go to their website, look up Electronic Arms Facebook page, and then check out their latest photos. That's kind of what piqued my interest, why I wanted to bring it up on the tech segment. Not only for if you've got a 1022 in every flavor and you want to add an electronic trigger to it, this might be up your alley. Like Sam said, for way under that, you can just swap in Volquartsen parts and have a really sweet trigger. Or just, for a little bit more, you just start ponying up for an actual entire Volquartsen 1022 gun right from the factory.
Mm-hmm.
So, no listener feedback this week. Let's conclude the show. Make sure you listen to all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. We're still plugging the Fat to Fit HQ podcast. If you go to www.fat2fithq.com, all sorts of tips and stories and how to lose weight, and a lot of pertaining it back to the passion of shooting firearms and training and being more fit for that as well. Make sure you go over to fat2fithq.com and check that out. Send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself, cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review, and stay tuned for more future giveaways in the future. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at www.firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. Make sure to check out the Firearms Insider website and check out all the new reviews and upcoming industry coverage. And also, if you're a listener and you'd like to be on the show, just send me an email across at firearmsradio.tv, and if you'd like to review a product that you haven't heard us brought up yet, or you'd like us to specifically bring up a product ourselves, and you don't want to come on the show, we can arrange that as well. So as always, have a good week. Thank you guys for joining me once again. Great reviews, and I definitely like the no holds barred style when it comes to talking about new products.
Thank you for having me again. It's been too long. As I said, I've been busy a little bit with the Guns of Hollywood stuff, so it was nice to come back to my roots of the FRN and do a little bit of a hating, let me hate out.
Same here, Ryan. Thanks for having me. It's always a good time with you guys.
Yeah, shoot safe, and hope I'll be looking forward to getting you on the show again next time.
Yep.
Sounds
good.
good.
Later, Ryan.
Yep. Take it easy, guys.